The movie begins with a group of gangsters packing their stash of drugs, preparing to sell it on the streets. Unexpectedly, a masked individual appears, with the intention of stealing the drugs for themselves. They engage in combat with the gang members one by one. Just when it seems they're in serious trouble, the police arrive and apprehend the masked person. Eventually, they are arrested and sent to prison. This masked individual is identified as Terry, a former Marine who earned medals for their heroic service, particularly during their time in Afghanistan. Prior to Terry's incarceration, they receive a visit from Harvey, a high-ranking police official. Harvey is curious about how a war hero like Terry ended up turning to a life of crime. Terry is not enthusiastic about answering the question, but they eventually divulge the details. After retiring from the military, they encountered difficulty in finding a well-paying job. It appeared that their country did not value their military service. Harvey then reveals a proposal. He wants Terry to investigate the prison's warden. This warden is suspected of a multitude of legal violations, including human rights abuses and involvement in illegal activities. However, the prison is heavily fortified, and the warden has influential connections with the mafia and corrupt officials. In exchange for Terry's assistance, Harvey promises a clean slate and the opportunity to secure a legitimate job to cover the medical expenses for Terry's ailing daughter. After some contemplation, Terry accepts the offer. Harvey provides a 10-day deadline to carry out the mission. Subsequently, Terry is escorted into the prison alongside other inmates. They are greeted by Lieutenant Killian and his second-in-command, Deputy Roy. Killian establishes the rules, warning the newcomers to follow them or face severe consequences. Then, all the inmates, including Terry, receive an injected tracking device. Following this, they are confined to their respective cells. Terry soon realizes that this is no ordinary prison. It houses high-profile criminals, the kind one would prefer to avoid in a dark alley. Unbeknownst to the warden, Terry possesses a concealed cell phone, which he intends to use to report any illicit activities within the prison. In the cafeteria, an inmate named Chris attempts to incite trouble, but Terry handles the situation calmly. Later, an individual named John invites Terry to join a group for safety, but Terry declines, choosing to go solo with the response, "No, thanks." In the evening, as Terry scrubs away in the laundry room, he witnesses John getting into a scuffle with a group of not-so-friendly individuals who are about as intimidating as fluffy marshmallows. To everyone's surprise, John makes those marshmallow-like guys look even less intimidating. Later that night, it's Terry's turn to step into the brawl arena when Chris and his crew come knocking. Amid the chaos, a fellow inmate jumps in to lend a hand, and before you know it, a prison guard arrives to play the role of referee. The brawlers receive an all-inclusive ticket to the quiet room. The following day, Chris and Terry get an exclusive invitation to meet Lucas, the top dog warden. Chris is in hot water for starting fights without permission. Meanwhile, Lucas extends an apology to Terry for the tussle with Chris and his crew. As it turns out, Lucas has a soft spot for Terry's military background. Lucas reveals the existence of his secret underground chamber beneath the prison, which he playfully calls the dungeon. He offers Terry a deal: assist him, and he'll expedite Terry's escape plan so he can reunite with his daughter. Terry receives a fancy uniform and is introduced to a new roommate. A female guard named Maria serves as Terry's chauffeur to the new accommodation. And who's the roommate? None other than Bones, the companion who had Terry's back during the brawl. Bones is a combat expert due to his father's expertise in martial arts, and he offers to provide guidance. Terry takes a quick break to report the situation in the dungeon to Harvey during a bathroom visit, and Harvey assures him of his support. The following day, Bones takes Terry to a self-defense class in preparation for his upcoming bout in the dungeon. This is when Terry discovers which mafia groups are the heavyweight contenders in this underground fighting club. It turns out that every Friday night, the chosen contenders are granted a free trip to the dungeon for some rule-free fisticuffs. Tonight, it's Terry's turn, decked out in a special outfit, joined by Bones and the mastermind warden. They venture into the dungeon, a place where the brawls are unrestrained and broadcast live for the inmate audience. This time, it's a showdown between the representatives of two rival mafia factions within the prison. Joan emerges victorious in the ring, and now it's Terry's time in the spotlight. His opponent is Al Papiro, representing the Mexican mafia group. Terry, still a bundle of nerves, takes a one-way trip to the floor in the first round, courtesy of Al Papiro. However, in the subsequent round, Terry composes himself and secures the win. The crowd goes wild, and even Lucas, the head warden, joins in the cheer. After the battle, it's John's turn to have a chat with Lucas. Since John emerged as the victor, Lucas grants him a wish. John's request? An early release from prison, just as Lucas had promised previously. But Lucas has a twist in mind. John must win one more fight to earn that ticket. John isn't pleased and hints at consequences for Lucas. warning that if he fails to uphold the deal this time, there will be a riot, courtesy of John and his mafia associates. The following day, Terry is paid a visit by a lawyer who specializes in assisting war veterans. This attorney, Lisa, is under the impression that Terry is a big-time troublemaker. She believes he has been entangled in criminal activities out of desperation to cover his daughter's medical expenses. Lisa offers Terry a chance for an escape, but Terry, with his secret mission in mind, politely declines her offer. In the lunchroom, John confronts Terry, clearly upset about Terry's win the previous night. He warns Terry sternly not to mess with him. Later, Terry gets ready for another match, this time against Dragon, an Asian inmate skilled in kung fu. Surprisingly, Terry defeats Dragon with just one hit. This only angers John more because he's afraid Terry might become the prison's top fighter. In their cell, Bones opens up about why he's in prison. He explains that he sought justice for his sister, who was a victim of a terrible crime. The next day, while Terry is at work, John's group ambushes him. Warden Maria tries to step in, but she ends up getting hurt by one of Joan's men. Thankfully, Maria is saved in the nick of time. Terry is furious and goes straight to Lucas, asking him to set up a fight between him and John. However, Lucas believes Terry isn't prepared to face John, who is the current champion. Still, Terry insists on arranging the showdown. Interestingly, John never actually ordered his gang to attack Terry. He's furious with his members for their reckless actions. Lucas takes John's gang to a place called the Dungeon for Punishment because of their attack on a prison guard. In a fit of anger, Lucas even gets rid of 2 of John's men as a strict warning to prevent future rule breaking. He then instructs John to fight Terry. Meanwhile, Terry continues to train hard for the upcoming match. Even during his training, he manages to send Harvey more updates about what's happening inside the prison. Finally, the much-anticipated fight begins. In the first round, Terry dominates, and his control continues into the second round. In the end, Terry beats John. Thanks to this recent victory, all the prisoners now highly respect Terry. Later that evening, Lucas calls Terry to meet him. During their meeting, Lucas expresses his thanks for Terry's win. The video of the Terry-John fight was sold for a good amount of money, and Lucas wants to appoint Terry as his right-hand man to lead the inmates and help manage his illegal prison activities. In secret, he takes a sample of the drugs in the prison. Then, he shows Terry the bodies of John's gang members who were killed when they attacked Terry, demonstrating his concern for Terry's safety behind bars. This provides further evidence of human rights violations committed by the warden. However, instead of giving in to temptation, Terry rejects the offer. He remains determined to keep his promise with Lucas to get out of prison and be with his daughter again. After this refusal, Lucas introduces Terry to someone surprising, who turns out to be Harvey. Terry figures out that Harvey's mission is a real dude. Turns out, Harvey and Lucas are in cahoots, running their shady businesses like illegal fights and a drug operation. They're cashing in on Terry's fighting skills from his military days and his drug-slinging expertise, making for one funky team up. Terry's like, nope, not doing it, but guess what? They've taken Bones hostage, like a soap opera plot twist. So now Terry's their dance partner. No choice there. Off to work they go. Little do Harvey and Lucas know, Terry and Bones launch Operation Jailbreak. It's a hit because everyone's already Team Terry. All the inmates rally to help Terry, making it look like a jailbreak parade. To settle the legal score, Terry reaches out to Lisa, the activist he brushed off earlier. He spills the beans about Lucas and Harvey's antics, handing over the dirt he's collected. The next big brawl is when Lucas lines up a heavyweight from another prison, Chaka. Terry's thrown around like a pinball in round 1, but by round 2, he flips the game. He takes down Chaka and gets the inmates riled up, leading to a dungeon free for all. Weapons show up, but it's like trying to put out a bonfire with a water pistol. Lucas is on a self-preservation quest. Terry smells something fishy, chases Lucas, and they meet in the middle. Lucas whips out a gun, but guess what? Terry's got a bulletproof vest. Then, state police ride in like the cavalry, saving the day, all thanks to Lisa's tip. Terry scores a full pardon for exposing the prison scandal, even implicating the police commissioner and some wardens. Plus, the government foots the bill for his daughter's treatment. Before he's out of the slammer, he tips his hat to Boss for all the behind-the-scenes help. Exiting his cell, the inmates throw a Terry's free party. Terry finally reunites with his daughter. In the grand finale, Lucas is stuck in a deluxe prison suite, bawling his eyes out. And that's a wrap on the movie. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe Mango Recap for more video like this and help the channel grow.